What's going on, everybody? Today I'm doing some ribs in the oven. I don't have a barbecue, so I just use my oven to do what people do in the grill. So I got 2 ribs going. I got my rub. I'm going to show you how to make that. And I got my sauce. It's in the link right above my head on the right side. And that's how you make the barbecue sauce. And this is going to be the Sri Lankan ribs. Let's go. Alright, these are the ingredients that you need. Need some garlic powder, granulated garlic, coarse ground black pepper, dark roasted curry powder, only Sri Lankan. And then you're gonna need some smoked paprika, a little bit of cayenne pepper, some mustard powder. Of course, you're gonna need some kosher salt, and then you're gonna need some cinnamon. The last ingredient I forgot to mention was some dark brown sugar, or just regular light brown sugar. Either one works. Alright, y'all, let's get started on this. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and hit the like button. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna mix all these ingredients together. I will have the specific ingredient list in the description down below for this recipe. For basically, you make sure you want to mix the brown sugar and everything. It's going to look like that when it's done. And then what you want to do is you want to get your ribs ready. So to get your ribs ready, you want to take a paper towel and wipe it down. You don't want to have any moisture. So if you have a lot of moisture on your ribs, just get them dry as possible. And then you got to pull out that membrane, because you don't want that membrane when you're making the ribs. It also, your marinade won't absorb as well. So if you're having a hard time with this membrane, do a little cut on the beginning. Just use your knife and then try to cut it, and then you can pull it out with a paper towel like that. Some of them do cook it with a membrane, but I'd like to remove this membrane, because when you put the seasonings and everything, it does absorb better. So after you do that, you want to give it a nice dry on your paper towel on both sides. Make sure the front and back, they're both pretty dry before you're gonna add the yellow mustard. So that the yellow mustard gives it a nice tang, and the salt gives it the nice seasoning the ribs need. So I just made sure I got rid of the moisture before I started adding the mustard and the seasonings. So after you get rid of that moisture, hit it with some yellow mustard. If you have any other fancy mustard, you can put that on there, but I had yellow mustard, so add some yellow mustard. That's what most people who do ribs do, is add yellow mustard to this. And then add some kosher salt, or any type of salt would do, and then kind of rub it through. Now if you don't have mustard, like deli mustard like this, that's liquid mustard, you can add dry mustard here as well, and not add it on the rub. I added on the rub because I like that mustard. I like the dry and the wet mustard on the ribs. It just gives it a nice feel to the ribs. But if you don't want that, you can just add the dry mustard or just the wet mustard. So right here, you just want to make sure you get on every nook and crevice of the ribs, so the mustard goes all over, and so does the salt. You want that tanginess and the saltiness, so you want to add a little bit more of the salt. So kosher salt is kind of good because it's kind of a coarse salt, so when it slow cooks, it blends in really nicely. And then you want to add the rib mix. The rib mix has all the curry rub and the brown sugar, and all of that goodness is going on the ribs. You want to put it on the top part more than the bottom part, because that's the part you're going to be eating a lot more from, because the bottom part is just basically just going to be a layer of skin that's covering the bone. So make sure you add generously on the top part, and then save a little bit for the bottom part. Since we're not grilling this, the bottom part doesn't matter as much. Also, now you want to flip those ribs and add some of that mustard and a little bit of that salt and a little bit of that seasoning. Whatever remaining rib rub that you have, you're gonna add this on there, because since majority of the time, like 90% of the time, these ribs are gonna be cooked on one side, which is the top side, and when we sauce it, it's also gonna be on the top side, because these ribs are gonna be cooked at 250 for the first hour and 275 for the next 2 hours, and it's gonna fall off the bone. So you don't need to do a whole lot of flipping when you're cooking these ribs. Now if you're gonna do this at 300 for 2 hours and you want to kind of finish it off in the grill, then you might want to put a little bit more seasoning on here. But for what we're doing right here, this is perfectly fine. As long as you salt it and you put a little bit of that seasoning, you will be good. So the next step is to wrap the ribs. So make sure you season it properly, and then wrap the ribs so you keep the moisture in when you cook it in the oven. And set your oven at 250 degrees. You're gonna cook that 250 for 1 hour and 275 for the remaining 2 hours. So after the 3-hour mark, you just want to hit it with the barbecue sauce. You gotta make sure you get all that liquid out of the ribs, and then brush them with your barbecue sauce. Now I made a Sri Lankan barbecue sauce. I will link that on this video. That's the barbecue sauce that's made with black tea and kittle and all that good stuff. So this is more Sri Lankan style barbecue sauce. Now if you like just Sweet Baby Ray's, you can put that, Stubbs, whatever barbecue sauce you like, go ahead and add that. So first coat, I added barbecue sauce, put it in the oven at 400 for like 10 minutes, then took it out and did the same thing. Another layer of barbecue sauce, and then I added it for another 10 more minutes, and just to make sure how I like how it looked, and then I did the last 10 minutes. Now if you want to keep going, you can do this process for another 2 or 3 times, but this was perfectly fine for me. So this whole ribs took 3 hours and 30 minutes to cook, along with saucing and everything else. Now if you want to do this on the grill, you can easily do this by cooking it at 300 for like 2 hours, and then kind of grilling it on a grill, and then adding the barbecue sauce. So now that's how it looks. I ate this with some white rice and it was delicious, but I will let you know how I liked it. But if y'all want to make the ribs, man, go ahead and make those Sri Lankan ribs. Those are to die for. If y'all see this, it's got some barbecue sauce, the ribs coming off the bone. And you do need a fork for this one, because it's gonna come right off the bone. So look at that. Wow, and it's falling down too. With that autofocus, G85, you guys need to work on your autofocus. Look at that, man. That's some good ribs right there. Try it out, y'all.